Finally back live. We are back in action. We had some minor difficulties. But nothing that we cannot get over. You all already know that when problems arise, you do one of two things. You can wait them out. Oh shit. Okay? You can wait them out, or you can just roll over and take it as a loss, which is not what we're doing. You already know. We are live, we're active, we're having a good time, and we're ready to kill it tonight. We have another historical research quest stream in store. Following up on last week's Jack the Ripper stream, this week we're talking about the Zodiac Killer. So I had a lot of fun in the last stream. We had a lot of interesting conversations, details that we dug up and came around. So now we move on to the Zodiac Killer. That's what we do. I'm just simply gonna wait for this to pop. I'm just simply gonna wait for. Oops. There we go. We got everything sounding good over there. Let's see if we can make this happen. Historical Research Zodiac Killer. You know. Okay, post, get the post up, and then today, everybody, I'm just gonna jump straight into it. That's how it's gonna be. I've spent a lot of time waiting. Originally, I wanted to start this stream at 6:25 p.m. It is now 8:25 p.m. My day's been delayed 2 hours. I thought I was the one cooking the stream. It wasn't me. So yeah, that's where we stand currently. Circle Research Quest, the Zodiac Killer. We're in a live as Rumble is back up and running. Come hang for a bit or watch the VOD later. Please do me a favor, everybody. Feel free to maybe, share the stream. Share the stream with your boys. It wouldn't hurt, right? Now, my only issue is that the thumbnail isn't loading it onto Rumble yet. We're going to give people like 2-3 minutes. Maybe anyone pops in. I'm going to make sure the Rumble stream is going good, making sure everything else is posted where it should be. But we're chilling and we're happy to be live. That's the main point of the deal right now. We're just glad that the stream is working. It's the first time I've ever experienced any Rumble server issues. Nothing was working. No thumbnails were showing up. No streams were launching. People's streams were cut off short. I'm sure that was incredibly frustrating for them. So anybody who experienced that, I'm sorry, guys, but it happens often. It happens often. That's just how it is. Not at Rumble though. It happens on other platforms. Not on Rumble. It was our first time. It's not a big problem, especially for me, since I hadn't actually started my stream yet. Now, if I would have started my stream and it would have cut me midway, my opinion on this situation might be far different than it is now. But we'll cross that bridge if we ever get there. Hopefully we don't, right? But today, I want to welcome you all back to another fantastic historical research quest stream. I love doing these. Every Wednesday we pop in here, we find an event, story, person, time, era, whatever, to listen to. Zach. Whoa, Ted Cruz documentary. No way. Oh man, not I. Not over here, man. Not over here. We're talking Ted Cruz documentary. That's so funny. That is so funny. You got me with that. You got me. Remember that. You got me with that. Wow. Wow. Oh. Oh, yeah. Oh. My goodness, I do remember. That meme was so... Oh, God, that meme. When was that? Like 2015 or something like that? Like, that was back in the day, low key. Like, dude, think about that. That was like a decade ago. That's like a decade ago. Are you kidding me? Well, anyway, I hope everything's good on the stream. You know, when I saw Rumble was back up running live, I saw my thumbnails were uploading. Honestly, I immediately just started the fucking stream. So I don't know how I don't know what's going on. I think audio is good. I heard it in the stream. Oh no, I'm old. No, man. Ted Cruz is wow. You know what's so funny? That never crossed my mind until you said it. And I was over here all day reading, getting the stream set up, getting all the images. I was looking all over the internet for this stuff. And it's so funny that the Ted Cruz shit never popped up. I guess, what if he got that shit wiped? I'm gonna have to do a little deep check on that down the road, see if he did a little wipey. But one more recap for everybody. Last week, not on Wednesday because we had a different stream on Wednesday, but on Thursday, we did a historical research quest on Jack the Ripper, and that shit was fun. Like, obviously the events we talked about weren't too fun, but Jack the Ripper, that story is just fascinating. It's interesting. And today we're staying on theme, you know, with this whole murderous vibe, fucking era defining murderers. We're going to the Zodiac Killer, and we're going to talk about it. I'm going to get started for you guys real quick. I have the images popped up. Oh wait, here. I'll scroll through them on here. We'll figure out what we're talking about, what we're looking at. I will explain each image. And then the rest of it is just going to be dialogue straight from me. Obviously, these are not the most visibly incredible streams because they're static images standing behind me while I talk, but they're short lessons. These are like 1 hour streams, I think, approximately. That's what I usually keep it at. Sometimes we go over, sometimes we go a little under, but this is good for anybody who wants to watch this back later. It's short enough where you might take an hour out of your day. And they're fun to talk about. The dialogue is the important part here. So let's jump into it. I just want to say one more time, everybody, welcome back to another historical research quest stream with us today. This is a big episode. It's a big episode and an immersive one. We got a lot of information here. If you were with us for the Jack the Ripper episode, you know we don't just rush straight throughout the history. We kind of live in it just a little bit. Tonight we're dedicating our time. We'll see how long it goes, like I said, to the Zodiac Killer. The Zodiac Killer is definitely up there on the list for one of the most arrogant, media obsessed, cipher sending, unidentified serial killers in modern American history. Like, this guy is in the books for real. From late 1968 into the early 1970s, this man murdered at least 5 people. So just like Jack the Ripper last week, we talked about his colloquial 5. It was what it was called, the colloquial 5. Canicular, clavicular, canochial. I think it was canochial 5. Let me actually check real quick. Jack the Ripper. It wasn't that. Canonical. It was the canonical 5. The canonical 5. So this man murdered at least 5 people, with 2 of them being survivors. So Jack the Ripper obviously cleared all 5. He even went much further than that, but the Zodiac Killer murdered at least 5 with 2 survivors. So that's more. He claimed up to 37 victims, sent taunting letters with bomb diagrams and threats to blow up school buses, wore a hooded executioner. Let's revamp this. I'm gonna stop doing the reloading. I'm gonna stop doing the reloading. But I just want to make sure that these points are understood. So, from late 1968 into the early 1970s, this man, the Zodiac Killer, murdered at least 5 people with 2 survivors, claimed up to 37 victims, sent taunting letters with bomb diagrams and threats to blow up school buses, wore a hooded executioner outfit in broad daylight, and created ciphers that stumped the world for decades. The Bay Area was absolutely paralyzed. Lovers' lanes emptied, cab drivers armed themselves, kids stayed home, and newspapers printed his symbol on the front page under threat. So this guy was huge. We're going to be pretty slow and thorough, but still getting through this stuff, all right? We're going to go through the full historical context of 1960s California, every confirmed attack with victim backstories and minute details, all major letters quoted at length, deep dives into every cipher with fully decoded text as well. You know, we're not going to leave that out. The police investigation, prime suspects with evidence for and against them, possible earlier victims like Sherry Joe Bates, later letters, cultural impact in books and movies, and the very latest DNA/genetic genealogy updates as of today, 2026. We're going to pause for some images, maps, and your chat theories if you have any. Obviously, I'll be looking up at the chat during this, and we can talk through any questions you have the entire way. I say grab some drinks, maybe a freaking notebook if you're feeling really spicy. Turn the lights nice and low, and get ready for a nice little story here. Well, totally real events. If you're new, follow me up. Give the boy a follow. Hit the little follow button. Let us chill. And drop your number one suspect in the chat right now if you have any idea. All right. Let's begin with the symbols that became synonymous with fear. That's what we're going to start off with today. So here you see this image. And this is the iconic zodiac symbol hand drawn by the killer himself. A circle with a cross through the center, resembling a gun sight or astrographical or astrological glyph. This mark appeared on nearly every letter stitched on the Lake Berryessa hood, written on the victim's car door, and became the terrifying personal brand that turned an unknown murderer into a cultural legend of absolute terror. That is exactly what Ted would draw. You're fucking absolutely right about that. That's for sure, man. That is for sure. So that's what you're looking at this image, the iconic Zodiac Killer symbol that he left on the doors of his victims. Picture this. It's 1968 to 1969. The summer of love in San Francisco's Haight-Ashbury has collapsed into hard drugs, crime, and delusionment. A lot of parallels there with the Jack the Ripper story as well, if you remember the Whitechapel neighborhoods. The Vietnam War dominates the news with body counts every single night. Anti-war protests absolutely rage. Hippies preach peace and free love. But in the working class and suburban areas around Vallejo, Benicia, Napa, and the East Bay, families try to live relatively normal lives. Teenagers have cars, drive-ins, lovers' lanes, freedom without cell phones or constant surveillance, which is all too regular for us today. The Zodiac seems to hate that freedom. Fuck freedom is what the Zodiac says. He specifically targets young couples, possibly driven by jealousy, sexual frustration, or an absolutely just delusional God complex about collecting slaves for the afterlife. He's highly organized, leaves minimal evidence, changes weapons like gun to knife, makes calm, taunting phone calls right after crimes, and craves newspaper attention like it's fucking oxygen. Consistent witness descriptions show a stocky white male, around 5'8" to 5'10" in height, 170 to 200 pounds in weight, crew cut hair or like short and curly hair, possibly glasses, military style precision. And this isn't impulsive rage, it's calculated performance. When it comes to the Zodiac Killer, this isn't impulsive rage, it's calculated performance. He's a sharpshooter. He's a killer. Of the closest thing to a demon I could think of. All right. So in this first section, we're going to be talking about Lake Herman Road, the first confirmed murders on December 20th, 1968. So on December 20th, 1968, it was a cold, foggy Friday night on isolated Lake Herman Road between Benicia and Vallejo. David Arthur Faraday, who was 17 years old, a popular, athletic high school senior with a bright smile and big college plans, is on his very first real date with Betty Lou Jensen, who was 16. And she was a shy, sweet, straight-A student with beautiful dark hair who dreamed of becoming a teacher or nurse. So we're setting the stage here with the young couple. They're parked in David's brown Rambler station G-Wagon. Here, I'm just going to bring the image up just so you guys can see kind of who we're talking about here. They're parked in David's brown Rambler station wagon, talking, laughing, probably sharing, some innocent kisses as young lovers do. And then headlights appear behind them. A second car stops. A stocky man approaches without a word and opens fire with a 22 caliber pistol using Winchester Western Super X ammunition. David is shot in the head as he tries to get out. Betty Lou runs, but is hit 5 times in the back and collapses on the gravel. Both of them die at the scene. No robbery, no sexual assault, just pure execution. Shell casings are recovered, but no usable fingerprints or tire tracks that lead anywhere, and the small community is absolutely devastated. These are some good kids from good families. Police have literally zero leads. Like, they don't know who would ever be out to get this guy or these two young guys or kids. This double murder sits absolutely cold until the killer strikes again just 7 months later. And not only does the killer, the Zodiac Killer, strike again 7 months later, he starts talking and he starts taunting. So this right here is a side-by-side yearbook portraits of Betty Lou Jensen on the left and David Faraday over on the right. These two bright, wholesome teenagers on their very first date had their futures violently stolen in a sudden, motiveless attack on a quiet, rural lover's lane. Like, unbelievable. This is feeling eerily similar to Jack the Ripper's story, which came nearly 100 years later. This came nearly 100 years later. As you remember, Jack the Ripper was the 1888 with the Whitechapel murders. So those are the first two victims of the Zodiac Killer. Now we move over to section 2, which is Blue Rock Springs, July 4th through 5th, 1969, 7 months after the first events. It's Independence Day weekend. Just after midnight on July 5th at Blue Rock Springs Golf Course parking lot in Vallejo, Darlene Elizabeth Farron was a 22-year-old girl, a vibrant, outgoing waitress, and a young mother to a baby girl. She was parked chatting with Michael Renault Magoo, or Magoo. I'm going to say Magoo, who was 19 years old. So 22-year-old Darlene Elizabeth Farron is chatting with Michael Renault Magoo. He's 19 years old. Another car pulls up alongside them, shines a bright light straight into their faces. Then the driver exits and starts shooting, this time with a 9mm. Mike is hit in the neck, back, and leg, but plays dead and survives. Can you listen to that? Mike is hit by the Zodiac Killer's 9mm in the neck, back, and leg, but then quickly thinks and plays dead on the ground and survives. Like, that's some ridiculously quick thinking. Let me know if you think you could do the same in a situation like that. Honestly, I hate to say it, but I think like that's sort of where my body would default, which is what I'm imagining happened to Michael here, Michael Renault. But then again, I obviously don't know, and I don't want to know. I just want to make that really clear. I do not want to know. I'm just saying, if you're shot, I think when you see videos about events like this happening, or it's in the movies, they're kind of like, oh, and then they get shot. And then if they're really okay, sometimes they start screaming, which is always a bad call. Like, instinctively, I don't know if that's a good too. That's a good move. But Darlene is shot 9 times and she dies en route to the hospital. The killer calmly drives away, then calls. Before I move on here, I want you guys to realize this. Darlene is shot 9 times, dies on the way to the hospital. Michael is shot 3 times, at least based off like what's said here. He's shot in 3 different places. He survives and plays dead. The killer, the Zodiac Killer, calmly drives away from the scene, and then he himself calls Vallejo PD from a nearby payphone. And he says, "I want to report a double murder. If you will go 1 mile east on Columbus Parkway, ... they were shot with a 9mm Luger. I also killed those kids last year," referencing his previous murder spree, which was 7 months ago, to the other young couple. He gives exact details, wipes the phone, and disappears into the night. Mike's description, he says it was a heavyset white male, round face, with curly light brown hair. These are portraits of Darlene Farron, who's on the right, of course, and the survivor, Michael Magoo. This attack escalated absolutely everything. The killer not only struck again, but directly taunted police by phone with insider knowledge. And it established a pattern here. A young couple or young kids conversing. It's you know what I'm trying to get across here. He got hit in the face though. True. So here by the second murder 7 months later, the second spree, um we've established a pattern, and the Zodiac Killer himself has personally called the police department and reported everything and admitted to both sets of killings. Actually, one was only one killing. Then on section 3, we're moving into the first letters and the 408 cipher, August 1st, 1969, and this is where shit gets even more interesting. On August 1st, 1969, three nearly identical handwritten letters arrive at the Vallejo Times Herald, San Francisco Chronicle, and San Francisco Examiner. Three different papers. The writer claims both attacks were precise details. Wait, once again, so he called the police, told them stuff only the killer would know. And this time with the letters, the writer claims both attacks once again with precise details that only the killer would know. So now we're not just trolling police departments, we're trolling entire papers, city papers that you know what that means? That's instant publicity. That means everyone in the town is going to hear about it. This is with a purpose, okay? He recounts things like exact bullet counts, ammo brands, victim positions. He warns of more killings if the information he just submitted is not published, and includes the famous 408 symbol cipher split across 3 different pages. The papers obviously publish it. Like, what are they going to do? School teachers Donald and Betty Hardin solve it in about 20 hours. That's the first cipher. It's a sophisticated homophonic substitution cipher. Here is the full decoded message read dramatically and nice and slowly. Here we go. Oh, wait. Sorry, guys. Here we go. So I'm going to try and read it how they were instructed to read it. I like killing people because it is so much fun. It is more fun than killing wild game in the forest because man is the most dangerous animal of all the way through the slaves in paradise section. He first calls himself the Zodiac and signs with the cross circle. The final 18 symbols remain unsolved to this day, possibly a signature or just an extra taunt, like go on a never ending search type shit. This picture is the complete original 408 symbol cipher sent in August 1969. 3 pages packed with bizarre symbols, numbers, backwards letters, triangles, circles, and zodiac signs. This was the first major public cipher solved quickly by amateurs, but still containing an unsolved tale. So it wasn't completely solved, and who knows, maybe there is important things to uncover still, but due to the fact that it hasn't been solved yet, I don't think there's an important message there. I imagine a more ASMR kind of tone with a raspy voice. Let's try it again. I like killing people because it is so much fun. It is more fun than killing wild game in the forest because man is the most dangerous animal of all the way through the slaves in paradise section. Bro, let's solve it now. Let's put it in AI. Let's ask you, Zach. Let's go. Genius. Wait, ChatGPT. Actually, no, we're definitely going Grok for this shit. We're going Grok. We're going Grok. Solve the complete Zodiac Killer 408 cipher. Even the parts that are unsolved to this day. All right, I put it in. I press it in. I press it in. Come on. Still cooking. Grok is still cooking right now. The Zodiac Killer's Z408 cipher, the one shown in the image, has been fully solved since August 8th, 1969. It was cracked in just a few days by Donald and Betty Hiredon, a schoolteacher couple from Salinas, California, who recognized it as a homophonic substitution signer. Multiple symbols can stand for the same letter, which is why it looks so complex. The FBI independently verified their solution. The attachment image is a photograph of the Z408, or one of its three mailed sections, complete with the police evidence labels at the bottom and the hand-drawn zodiac symbol crosshairs. The cipher consists of 408 symbols split into three equal parts of 136 symbols each, mailed to three Bay Area newspapers on July 1st, 1969. Full plaintext solution. I like killing people because it is so much fun. It is more fun than killing wild game in the forest because man is the most dangerous animal of all. To kill something gives me the most thrilling experience. It is even better than getting your rocks off with a girl. The best part of it is that when I die, I will be reborn in paradise and all that I have killed will become my slaves. I will not give you my name because you will try to slow down or stop my collection of slaves for my afterlife. Wicked, twisted shit. The unsolved parts to this day. There is an awkward gap between all the and I have killed. Most experts believe Zodiac accidentally dropped a line when he copied his draft into the three cipher sections. A widely accepted reconstruction inserts lone or stray people, or very similar wording. And the lone or stray people I have killed will become my slaves. Okay, that fits the killer's bragging style, perfectly, and explains why the symbol count lined up to exactly 408. So that does make sense. But the final 18 symbols were EBEORIETEMETHHPITI. This is the only part still technically unsolved in meaning. It is not gibberish produced by a wrong key. The hardened key works perfectly on the rest of the cipher, leading explanations. There's no consensus, but these are the mainstream ones. So, the first mainstream idea here is that it's filler and padding. Zodiac needed exactly 136 symbols per mailed section to make them equal. He may have simply randomly added the symbols at the end to fill the space. Okay. Copying error. He omitted a line of plain text earlier, so the final symbols were left over and mapped to whatever letters the key produced. There is also an anagram or hidden signature sort of section that people think. The letters 6 times E, 3 times T, 3 times I, 2 times H, plus BORMP have been rearranged millions of ways by amateurs. No convincing name, phrase, or signature has ever been proven. Fringe theories like Latin phrases, religious acronyms, etc. exist but are not taken seriously by cryptographers. No new credible solution for those 18 letters has emerged, so the problem isn't that they can't solve it. Oh yeah, you're dumb. Grok, you're dumb. Grok, you're dumb if you can't solve the unsolved parts. Bruh. I gotta add a bruh in there, obviously. It's gotta be like bruh. Haha, fair shot, bruh, but nah, I'm not dumb on this one. The final 18 letters from the Zeobin have been poked at by cryptographers, Zodiac observers for 57 years. No consensus solution exists. The hardened decryption verified by the FBI is correct for the rest of the cipher. These last ones just don't yield coherent English when using the same key. Screw off, bro. Use a different key then. Use a different key, Like, damn, is it really that hard? Is it really that hard? Yeah, so this was the first major public cipher, and it was solved quickly by amateurs, but it still obviously contained that unsolved tale. After the cipher, we move on to Lake Berryessa, the hooded executioner, aka still the Zodiac Killer, on September 27th, 1969. Okay? On September 27th, 1969, broad daylight, at popular Lake Berryessa picnic area in northeast Vallejo. Brian Hartnell was 20 years old, and Cecilia Shepard were 22. They're simply relaxing on a blanket by the water when a man approaches wearing a black executioner style hood with the Zodiac symbol stitched on the chest, clip on sunglasses, and carrying a gun and knife. In broad daylight, the Zodiac Killer walks up to them like this. He claims to be an escaped convict from Montana who needs their car to go to Mexico. He ties them up with pre-cut lengths of plastic clothesline, talks very casually for several minutes, and then stabs them both repeatedly. Once again, in broad frickin' daylight. Brian, the dude again, survives with terrible wounds. Cecilia dies 2 days later. The killer walks to their car and writes on the door with a black marker dates of previous attacks, which were September 27th, 1969 at 6:30 p.m., the crossed circle, and by knife. He literally wrote by knife on the car. He then calls Napa County Sheriff from a payphone, boasting with exact details once again, just like he did the last time. Crazy. Here we can take a look at what that black executioner style fit sort of looked like. Artist detailed rendering of the Zodiac Killer at Lake Berryessa in his full black hooded executioner costume with the prominent cross circle symbol on the chest. This terrifying broad daylight attack on a peaceful picnic remains one of the most visually disturbing images in the entire case. No doubt. And it's still not over. It's still not over. Because then we head to section 5, which is the Paul Stine murder and the 340 cipher on October 11th, 1969. On October 11th, 1969, in San Francisco's upscale Presidio Heights neighborhood, cab driver Paul Stine, he was 29 years old, a former U.S. Marine, picks up a passenger who directs him to Washington and Maple Streets. The passenger shoots Paul one time in the back of the head with a 9mm, takes his wallet, and tears off a large piece of his bloody shirt, then walks away totally calm. 3 teenagers witness the entire thing from a second-floor window, and they immediately call the police. The killer later mails that bloody ripped-up shirt that he took from the cab driver, the scrap of the shirt, should I say, to the San Francisco Chronicle with another taunting letter, threatening to bomb a school bus full of children. With it comes a 340 symbol cipher, unsolved for 51 years until December 2020. This is a historic crime scene photo of Paul Stine's taxicab in the quiet tree-lined Presidio Heights neighborhood shortly after the murder. The shift from rural lover lanes to urban San Francisco dramatically heightened public panic for obvious reasons, because clearly sound like a Timu Batman. Oh my god, Zach, you're killing me, bro. You're killing me, bro. I'm crying. It's so fucking funny. But obviously, this San Diego murder is now different from the lovers' murders that we've seen before. It opens it up to a new stable of victims here, a new segment of potential victims here. And the San Francisco Chronicle is getting messages from him already. So this guy is yearning for the publicity. This guy wants to be famous. This guy just wants to be known as being a wild killer, the Zodiac Killer. He's literally trying to collect slaves for the afterlife, in his own words. It's absolutely diabolical. Once we move on from that taxi cab, we come over here to section 6, which is the 340 cipher solution, which we got in 2020. In 2020, an international team made up of David Orenchak, Sam Blake, Jarl van Eyck, finally cracked the 340 cipher using modern software and crowdsourcing. Full decoded text, as I'm about to state. I hope you are having lots of fun in trying to catch me. That wasn't me on the TV show, which brings up a point about me. I am not afraid of the gas chamber because it will send me to paradise all the sooner because I now have enough slaves to work for me. This guy is sick. The Zodiac Killer is absolutely sick. So by the time he finishes up the Paul Stine's murder in the taxi cab, in his brain, he's ready to die because he has enough slaves that will work for him in his afterlife due to the killings that he conducted in his normal human life. Insane. There were later letters too. Not just later letters, there were more threats, media panic, and unsolved ciphers. So over the next years, dozens more letters would arrive. Bomb diagrams with school bus targets, the unsolved 13 symbol "My name is" cipher, the Halloween card with peekaboo "You are doomed" dripping pen drawings, and constant demands that his symbol be printed on the front page, and the entire region lives in fear for years. Complete fear for years. Let's talk about this for just a second here. I mean, think about how ridiculous this is. Think about how ridiculous this is. The Zodiac isn't just a killer, he's a mental warfare god. He's an absolute disgusting person. And he has this fantasy made up in his mind that every person he kills in the real life will automatically be his slave in his afterlife. So he's preparing for a mission, like genuinely prepping for a war in his mind. And he starts with lovers. He moves on to a taxi driver. He forces local publications to publish his logo in the paper, and he sends confusing ciphers that people can't decode for decades, most likely just to troll. He's a clip farmer. He's trolling police stations, newspapers, and the entire public in the nation that he resides and commits his killings in, just for the one reason that he seemingly wants to be famous as hell. He wants to constantly be in the headlines and talked about. He wants everyone to fear him. And he reportedly wants to collect his slaves for the afterlife. Wild. And then, without more killings happening, he's sending dozens more letters, bomb diagrams with school buses on it, unsolved 13 symbol, "My name is" cipher, the Halloween card with peekaboo "You are doomed" written on it, dripping pen drawings, and constant demands that his symbol be printed on the front page. This man has no chill, no calm, nothing. He just wants to remain relevant. This is like all those washed content creators from like 10 years ago that are getting into streaming now just so their face maybe pops up on a 14-year-old kid's For You page and he can shill him something, some product to buy, some service to buy, anything, just to grasp at relevancy in the modern age and try and make a name for themselves that they once had so long ago. Like, this guy is not only disgusting and violent as hell, but he's also like, it's kind of embarrassing the shit he's doing to stay relevant, because even with the violence stopping, the threats are coming, the fear is boiling, the tension is high, and everyone's just sitting on edge because of this one unnamed man and the incredible investigative failures that come after his horrific attacks. Like, it's crazy. It's wild. We are absolutely flying through this one, by the way, guys. This one's not going to be an hour. We're looking more at like 45 minutes. We've already been going for 30 minutes here. Over the next years, dozens more letters arrived. So these are later letters, threats, and media panic, and more unsolved ciphers. So, but then there is, I'm trying to think about how if I want to jump right into this next part here, because it's pretty interesting. There isn't much more for us to expand on the previous story. I already reran the details that we needed to focus on. So yeah, let's do it. So this next section is the suspects like sort of deep dive we're going to do. And when I say deep dive, I mean minimal deep dive, like just some good information. And this is the main suspect here is Arthur Leigh Allen, and we'll talk about some others. So Arthur Leigh Allen was the strongest circumstantial suspect for decades. He owned a Zodiac Seawolf watch. He had shoes matching Berryessa prints. Friends reported creepy moments about him hunting humans. He lived near the crime scenes, and survivor Mac Magoo later picked him in a photo lineup. But handwriting experts excluded him completely. Fingerprints didn't match, partial DNA from letters didn't match, and he died in 1992. We'll weigh every piece of evidence for and against him, but let's just talk about the fingerprints for a second. If you're only excluding him from fingerprints not matching, I hate when this is the conclusion we come to. A lot of shit matches, but his fingerprints don't match. So it can't be him. You know what my problem with that is? We're talking about a motherfucker who's killed a bunch of people up till this point. He took their bloody shirts. He stabbed them gruesomely. He sent very disturbing shit to police stations and news publications. You don't put it against this guy to cut off a finger and use that as like like dummy prints on his shit, or even partial DNA from letters didn't match. Same shit. Dude, he took a bloody shirt from a crime scene. You think he couldn't pick up a random another bloody shirt, drip some shit on a piece of paper and be like, yeah, it's all fucking me, man. This guy was smart enough to just run completely undetected for so long. I don't buy it. So personally, Arthur Leigh Allen is kind of like, look at this guy. This guy easily looks to me like he could be a fucking serial killer. Let me know what you think. Zach, what do you think? Let me know what you're thinking about this. I'm gonna wait for you to respond here. This guy looks like he wants to murder me through the computer screen. Arthur Leigh Allen, I do not put it past this guy for being the Zodiac Killer. He had a Zodiac Seawolf watch, shoes that matched the prints found at Berryessa, and friends, his personal friends, even reported creepy comments about him hunting humans. Oh, wait, one more thing. He lived near crime scenes. And the reason we're excluding him is because of handwriting, fingerprints, partial DNA didn't match. One more thing. You think the Zodiac Killer can't walk up to a random person in a park and hold a gun to their head and say, hey, you're going to write this letter as I dictate it to you in your handwriting with your prints on the paper and your everything, and then we're going to send it to police stations and news publications. Doesn't that just sound fucking ridiculous to you? So, shoes match. Friends say he's weird as hell and has talked about hunting humans, and he lives near the crime scenes, and he looks like a fucking serial killer. But no. He looks nothing like Ted Cruz. Brother, that is stuck in your head. And now, after this stream ends, it's going to be stuck in my head as well. That's for sure. That's for fucking sure. That's what that's going to be. You don't put it past against Zach. Let me know what you think about this. Do you think what I'm saying is like kind of stupid or doesn't make sense? Like the only reason they exclude him is because of handwriting, fingerprints, and partial DNA. No. Looks like yeah. No. Looks like doesn't matter. That's not why I'm saying looks like. Like that's just me personally making a comment about this. I'm saying shoes match, lives near the scenes, and friends have talked about him hunting humans as well as he owns a Zodiac Seawolf watch. Isn't it kind of fucking ridiculous to you that they exclude him from being a suspect just because of fingerprints, DNA, and handwriting? So the DNA is from the letters. So the handwriting and the DNA are grouped together on his handwriting and DNA are grouped together on the letters. So we're just looking at the letters there. Fingerprints is not detailed exactly where they're coming from, but those are also on letters. I just think it's kind of ridiculous that they exclude him just for that. The first thing that comes to my mind is a serial killer puts a gun to a random civilian's head and says, write this letter, write this message, spit on the fucking paper, put your fingerprints all over it, give it to me in my plastic gloves, and I'm going to mail this shit. Or whatever. Might just be me, though. But the intellect. Oh, the intellect makes sense for that. Yes. I think so, too. Obviously, I'm not accusing the guy. He's dead. He died in 1992. Like, this is just, it's just a thought, like a thought exercise, I guess. Like, the investigative failures in this case are second to none. No, they're definitely second to some, but they're still diabolical. Just absolutely diabolical. This right here, of course, is a portrait of Arthur Leigh Allen, the man long considered the #1 prime suspect. Compelling circumstantial connections existed, but repeated forensic testing, handwriting, fingerprints, and DNA failed to link him conclusively, which is just not freaking good enough, in my opinion, man. Another thing you would think at this point is if a whole town is so scared. Remember, this is 1969. This is a different time. This is a very different time. If entire cities, police departments, and publications are so scared, and they have a strong lead on this man right here, Arthur Leigh Allen, I'm fucking surprised that no one just took him out. Right? I'm surprised nobody took it upon themselves to take him out. It's a very different time. Very different 1969. I don't know. Like, what comes to mind is like 1970s New York, bro. Like, if this happened in New York, everybody had like there was like a prime suspect like this in New York 1970s. You go to the Flatiron District maybe, or meatpacking area. Bah, 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 bah. Throw him into a fucking factory, never see the dude again, no idea what happened to him. I'm just surprised no one did it. I'm surprised. But then we move over to the next section. We'll move on from Arthur Leigh Allen. We move on to possible earlier victims, like from before the first one we talked about. So this is Sherry, Joe Bates, and others, and plus some theories. So many researchers link the 1966 Riverside murder of Sherry Joe Bates to the Zodiac. It was a similar stabbing, taunting confession letter, desktop poem, etc. And what I'm surprised about is why people don't link this. Like, since this 1966 murder came before the 1969 murders, obviously, this could have easily been the Zodiac's like warm-up murder. You know, he didn't know exactly what he wanted to do, how he wanted to do it. He just got to his mind like, okay, anybody I kill is my slave in the afterlife. Goal number one is just kill someone. This could potentially be the 1966 Riverside murder of Sherry Joe Bates. It's logical. It makes sense. Oh, Zach, thanks for coming by, man. Have a great night. Kid stuff, totally understand. Have a good one, bro. Talk to you later, man. See you next time. So that would make sense. And then by 1969, it makes even more sense that the Zodiac Killer established a more consistent route or action plan when it went to collecting his so-called slaves for the afterlife. And maybe he wanted to target the couples at the beginning because it was the simplest way for him to get a 2-in-1 deal. In one place, one given moment. And maybe he was just purely jealous or had something to do with the love component as well. But that does kind of make sense. So here in the final section, we're going to talk about some modern updates, DNA, DNA, genetic genealogy, and the 2026 status. So for our last image here, this is the solved 340 cipher alongside its 2020 plain text. This breakthrough, plus ongoing DNA work on letters and shirt scrap, keeps the case active even today in 2026, with genetic genealogy teams still pushing for answers. There you go. All of these are A, B. Like, we could decode this right now. Let me see. So, message here. I got you. I'll do it. Full message from Zodiac Killer. Zodiac Killer 340 cipher. Cipher message I can read. All right, so we're just waiting on Grok to get us this full. All right, so here is the full decrypted message from the Zodiac Killer Z340 cipher, which was just now solved just 6 years ago in December 2020. It says, "I hope you are having lots of fun in trying to catch me. That wasn't me on the TV show, which brings up a point about me. I am not afraid of the gas chamber because it will send me to paradise all the sooner, because I now have enough slaves to work for me, where everyone else has nothing when they reach paradise, so they are afraid of death. I am not afraid because I know that my new life is life. I will be an easy one in paradise, death. My new life is life will My new life is life will be an easy one in paradise, death." So what I was reading, it wasn't me like mumbling my words. That's what the guy said. That's what the guy said. Note the paradise in the Zodiac's intentional misspelling. He spells paradise wrong. So the Zodiac intentionally misspells paradise. He spells it with a C, not an S. And the message has some grammatical quirks and typos typical of his writing. So this guy was either not the smartest on the shelf, or he did it on purpose, but I'm going with that. He was kind of stupid. That's just the easy way to go about it. But that's honestly the full sprawling story of the Zodiac Killer, a case that still haunts us over 55 years later. Who was he? Was he Arthur Leigh Allen? Someone else entirely? I'd love to hear your theories. So drop any theories, questions, and favorite details in the chat, whether you're watching this live or if you're just watching the VOD later on any platform you're watching on. And I'm reading as many as I possibly can. So if it's good enough, I'll make a post about it and post it on X. So I really appreciate you guys. But let's go over a quick summary of what we talked about. So we talked about the full historical and cultural context of late 1960s Northern California, every confirmed Zodiac attack in detail, Lake Herman Road, Blue Rock Springs, Lake Berryessa, Paul Stine, including victim stories, timelines, weapons, and survivor accounts. All major letters with extensive quotes and context, deep dives into the 408 and 340 ciphers, including full dramatic readings of both decoded messages, the terrifying hooded executioner attack at Lake Berryessa, prime suspects, especially Arthur Leigh Allen, with evidence for and against them, plus other theories, possible earlier victims like Sherry Joe Bates and additional connections, media panic, bomb threats, school bus threats, and the killer's manipulation of newspapers. He was threatening to do a lot more harm if he wasn't published. We went over some cultural impact in books like Zodiac by Robert Graysmith and films, modern updates, including the 340 cipher, which was just solved in 2020, current DNA genetic genealogy efforts as of 2026, and why the case remains wide freaking open. Right? So I just want to say, I thank you all so much for spending this little deep dive session with me. Sources, full letter scans, and the maps in the description. If you want a part 2, more on any of the suspects or another mystery next week, let me know. Stay safe, stay curious, and stay questing. Any notes you guys have about potential subjects or topics that you would like me to dive into, I would love to hear them, and we can set that up for next week. I'm also happy to do a super deep dive into anything we've already talked about before, but a little segment of it. So if you asked for a full deep dive into, let's say, Arthur Leigh Allen, the prime suspect, I could be a fan of that. I could do it if you guys want. So that could be interesting. Another major thing is keep eyes out, because in this next month, you are going to be hearing a lot of new updates from me and AG, some big projects we're working on, very, very, very big community focused ordeal. I'm trying to activate everyone in my network for this project. So if you know me, if you've ever talked to me, if we've ever DM'd, if we've ever commented, anything, please send me a DM directly on X at NetAccess Group. Let's get in touch. I'm happy to tell you a little bit about what we've got going on, how you could potentially get involved, where we see a good fit, what the future timeline looks like with this project. But all I'm going to say right now is it's a major launch, and whether you're a creator, a spectator, a viewer, or just a person looking for a good time, I advise you to keep your eye out on our channels because major shit is coming, and I'm really excited to share it all with you. And a lot of new information will be coming on that in the month of June, along with some major professionally produced programs that once again I can't wait to put on for all of you as I have in the past. So thank you everybody for hanging out with me tonight on the historical research quest for today's Zodiac Killer topic. I can't wait to be back next Wednesday, probably next Wednesday, which is our typical schedule. I'll aim for 6 p.m. again. And that's basically it. My voice, it's like raspy from reading the ciphers. But I love hanging out with you guys. So thanks so much for joining me on this stream. I had a fantastic time. If anybody's watching back the VOD, listen all the way through. Let me know what you think. Let me know what I can do better at, do worse at. If you have any sort of notes for my presentation abilities or processes, please share them. I'm not too good to receive any constructive criticism or feedback. I would love to hear anything you have that could potentially benefit the viewing experience of these streams for you all. So thank you. That's the last time I'll say it. Keep an eye out for what we've got coming. Keep researching, keep questing, keep killing it. You guys are all amazing. Thank you so much for the support on Rumble and all the other channels. Keep an eye out because we got big shit on the way. Good night, everybody. Thanks for hanging out. I am going to do a nice little, you already know what we're going to do. We're going to do a little raid ski. You already know what we're going to do. We're going to do a little raid ski for my boy. Let me see who we got live here. We got Waffle. Oh, we got Sergeant Wilkie. Sergeant Wilkie is live. Yeah, we'll hit Wilkie. We'll hit Wilkie.
Was? He's dead, bro. He's dead.
Oh, wait. What else do we have? Midnight in the Mountains. All right. Yeah. Wilkie, you got it, bro. Wilkie, you my dog.
I seen him a second, and then he started shooting us.
Bye, everybody.
He's landing. The right side, right side, right side, right side.
Oh, shoot.
Sorry.
See if it went through.
There you go. Don't worry, buddy. Don't worry, buddy. You're just dead. He's dead. He's dead.
There we go.
Oh, imagine if I hit. Oh my. Oh, I would have put the controller away. I would have picked up the mouse and keyboard. I swear, if I would have hit that, I'd have picked up the mouse and keyboard for real, dude. That's gonna be it. That's gonna be it.
He's like, that's the clip. That's the clip. That's the clip.
Peanut butter jelly time.
Oh, peanut butter jelly time.
Peanut butter jelly time.
Oh, and then the action group coming in. Hey, all right, I'm dropping my money over by the buy station. Let's get our roadies. Dropped it like it's hot. Come get the money. It's hot and ready.
Oh, shorts. Ooh, I'm not.
Yeah, this is our last in. Yo, we'll go.